Hi, I am Melina, and I am so excited to speak to you today about the menstrual cycle and how it can be a mindfulness practice. So first, I would love to speak about what is menstrual cycle awareness. From my own perspective, it is an act of valuing and knowing your own unique cyclical rhythm of energies and moods throughout the menstrual month. It is also a deep listening practice where you can accept exactly where you are at any given time and respect your feelings and your energy levels and respond accordingly. So that is the what. I would also like to share with you why menstrual cycle awareness is important. And from my own experience, I can share with you the impact that it has had on my life. So when I learned about the menstrual cycle about 2 years ago, it totally blew my mind. I had been very disconnected from my own cycle, didn't know anything much about it really. And when I learned more, I was just blown away by how profound our bodies are as women. So one of the impacts it's had on my life is it deepened my connection to my body. I am someone who tends to live from my mind. And even though I've been practicing yoga for a number of years and have explored all kinds of meditations and done a lot of self-development work and tried numerous well-being and alternative healing modalities, the menstrual cycle awareness really hit home for me because it was the first time anybody spoke about specifically what it means to be a woman. And so this really deepened my connection to my body in a really intimate way, which was lacking before. What it also helped me develop was self-love. If you have struggled with self-love, I totally understand that. I have too. And menstrual cycle awareness can really be a doorway into self-love because you really have to meet yourself exactly where you are on that day of your cycle and find a way to meet those needs. And those needs are going to change every single day. So we have hormones as women that are either going up or going down. And every single day, our hormones are a little bit different, and that affects our bodies and our minds. So meeting your needs on a daily basis is a very beautiful self-love practice. And the other teaching that the menstrual cycle has is that it teaches you one of the most profound teachings out there, which actually the Buddha teaches as well, that everything is impermanent. So our hormones are changing on a daily basis. And so our mind state and our energy levels and our feelings are also changing on a daily basis. And this is a super amazing teaching of the menstrual cycle, which is within yourself. And if you allow your menstrual cycle to guide you, it can be your greatest teacher. The menstrual cycle can also help you heal your body. It can help you create a much more sustainable lifestyle. It can help you rediscover your creativity and your calling, connect to the power within you as a woman, and also transform your relationships with men. So that is why I find this is incredibly empowering practice. And now I would love to give you some tips on how the menstrual cycle can be a mindfulness practice for you. So step one is to first understand your belief. we have many, many cultural beliefs around menstruating. These come from our mothers, our aunts, our grandmothers, and society at large. And some of them are positive, but a lot of them are negative. So sitting with these negative beliefs and really seeing how they feel for you and where you got them from, and then trying to turn them into something positive. So for me, some of the beliefs I had was that menstruation is inconvenient and messy. And I've changed that now into life is messy and that's okay. And that is a beautiful teaching of menstruation, that, yeah, it's messy and life can be messy too. And it just teaches you how to cope with the messiness of life. Life is not supposed to be perfect and neat and tidy all the time. Another belief of menstruation is that it's dirty. That wasn't my belief, but that's a very powerful belief that society holds at large. And a way to change that belief into something positive is that menstruation is cleansing. And it is, if you actually go deeper into what menstruation is, it is a release and a letting go. And if you do it consciously, it can be a cleansing, a very cleansing practice. And also, if you have that belief, I encourage you to go online and research what menstrual blood is, and you will find that it is full of nutrients that are really good for plants. So definitely research it and find a more positive belief for yourself if that's one of your negative beliefs. So beliefs is the first step. The second step is to start tracking your cycle. So you can use an app to do that if you are into technology and love your app. There's apps called Flow, Glow, and Clue, and many, many more. But this only becomes a mindfulness practice if you don't only track your cycle, but you also track your emotions, your thoughts, and your energy levels as well. So I am more old school. So I began tracking my cycle with a chart like this. So I would actually start on the first day of my bleed and write down my thoughts, my emotions, and my energy levels. And I would go through every day tracking my emotions, energy levels, and my thoughts, and fill up a chart like this. You want to do this at night so that you can reflect on the day, and that's where the mindfulness practice comes in. So at nighttime, you sit with your chart or your app and you just reflect on how you were feeling, what your energy was like, and what the predominant thoughts of the day were, and then just jot that down. So you start tracking on the first day of your bleed, would be day 1. And then you would track daily for the rest of your cycle. And you would start a new chart on the first day of your next bleed. So that's step 2. Step 3 is to accept and to work with where you are in your cycle on any given day. So that means if you are feeling vulnerable on a particular day and more introverted, then honor that. So if you have engagements that day that don't really honor how you're feeling in your body, if you can, try to reschedule them. If you can't, just honor where you're at and note how you're feeling and do the best you can to go on with whatever you have planned, honoring how you're feeling. But I recommend, if you can, to reschedule, to just really honor where you're at. The second thing is, if you're feeling super energized, possibly, and like you could take on the world, then honor that and go for it. The fourth step is to track your cycle over a period of time. So this really becomes useful when you observe patterns over a period of time. So you want to do this practice for at least 6 to 12 months. And I guarantee you will start to see certain patterns forming. For example, if you start tracking on day 1, the first day of your bleed, you'll start seeing that every cycle, there will be a pattern. On the first day of your bleed, you might be feeling the same way over many cycles. And obviously, this isn't going to be 100% the same because we have outside life circumstances that change all the time. But you will definitely see some patterns starting to form over time. So on day 6, after you stop bleeding and you move into your pre-ovulation phase, you might notice that on day 6 and every single cycle, you experience this renewed sense of energy, this like burst of new life. That's what I experience on my day 6, and it's pretty consistent. You might experience 10 to 12 that your libido starts to rise, and you feel really sensual and magnetic and beautiful. And that's a consistent pattern that you see over time around that same time of your cycle. And then maybe around day 21, you experience the don't mess with me day, and you really speak your truth. So you're going to see some kind of pattern forming, and it's going to be unique to you. And the last step, step number 5, is to sync your cycle with your diary. And I feel that this is the most profound act of self-love and self-care, and one of the most empowering tools a woman can have for menstrual cycle awareness and her life in general to create a much more sustainable life. So once you've noticed the patterns that form over time, you can then start scheduling your diary based on these new understandings about yourself. So for me now, I know approximately when I'm going to bleed every month, and I will block those times off in my diary. So the first 3 days of my bleed, I will, if it's during the week, I'll lighten my load if possible, or I will schedule things that are much simpler and I can go at a much slower pace and I can dress in really comfortable clothes. And if it's on the weekend, I'll try to clear my schedule so that I can have me time, downtime, and just be in my cocoon. Everyone is going to have their own needs, so you'll figure out how to meet your needs. And you'll know as well when you're feeling much more empowered and confident and strong and full of energy, and you can schedule and when you're also feeling magnetic, you can schedule big presentations or difficult conversations around that time of your cycle. And maybe when you're feeling super energized, those days of your cycle, you can pack it full of social engagement. And just simple things like when to do your waxing. You wouldn't want to do that in your premenstrual phase. It's going to be so much more painful. So you'd want to schedule that for your pre-ovulation phase. It's endless the amount of things you can do to make your life easier and just more beautiful. So I hope that you have found those tips useful. If you would like to go deeper, I have a workshop coming up at Just Be on Tuesday the 24th. It's a full-week workshop, and we go into each of the phases of the menstrual cycle. So we'll go into pre-ovulation, ovulation, premenstrual, and the menstruation phase in much more detail, and how that will affect your mind, body, and energy levels. And we will do self-care practices. We will have discussions, and we will do some movement practices and meditations around the cycle and connecting deeper to your cyclical wisdom. I also have some free talks coming up on Saturday and Sunday this week. So please join if you are free. We'd love to see you there. and we would love to have you at the workshop as well. Thank you very much and have a lovely evening.